It is flat out child abuse. Take your children and tell them they have to attend school. Don't have a choice. And then some of them will tell them they don't want you to have a choice where they go to school.
This is Mark Robinson, Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina. If you thought that was an insane thing to say, wait until you hear the rest of the quote. As a matter of fact, wait till you hear the rest of the clips I've got for you. He's running for governor this year, I believe, and he gave a speech recently where he said he believes God installed him as lieutenant governor to spread God's word through government. Why he would put Mark Robinson in the position of lieutenant governor of North Carolina rather than governor of North Carolina is beyond me. Why he would put him there instead of the White House? Who knows? But God apparently thinks the lieutenant governor slot is powerful enough to influence all of government, including the federal level. So anyway, listen to this. Late November 2023.
Michael Bloomberg came in and put $10 million into my race to defeat me.
By the way, don't believe a word out of his mouth. Everything he says is a lie sometimes. I've heard a lot of sermons from this guy where he's just busting out lie after lie after lie. So seriously, don't believe him unless you look it up directly.
$10 million, and I barely have $1 million of my own.
I barely have $1 million of my own in my race. Really? You're running for governor of North Carolina. I don't believe that for a second. This stuff should be public. I believe it's public, how much money people raise, okay? This came out in November. He has $2.2 million, according to Spectrum Local News. $2.2 million. Robinson campaign email said that it would report raising $2.2 million during the first half of the year and holding $3.2 million in cash on hand as of June 30th. Huh! Thought you said you barely have $1 million. Stein's campaign, which kicked off formally in January, said that it would report raising almost $6 million, blah, blah, blah. I guess that's his competitor. Anyway, the point is, this is a perfect example of what I was talking about. A lie. The guy is lying. That's just flat out false. And you can't tell me he doesn't know how much money is in his own bank account or in his campaign's bank account. When you're running for governor, people want to know you. People will pay you $200,000 to go golfing with them. I know because this happened with Ron DeSantis. People believed he had a shot at being the next president, so they were, the lobbyists that is, they were paying tons and tons of money just to go golfing with the guy. Not asking any favors, they just want to know him. And when they do need a favor, they'll have his phone number. Not to mention all of the super PAC money. Like, it's against the law to donate more than $9,600, I think, individually. I don't remember how much you can donate. But a company that is completely unaffiliated with Mark Robinson, but just likes him, can do whatever they want. They can take as much money as they want from donors. And they just so happen to use that money to push political ads that are favorable to Mark Robinson and negative against his opponents. A super PAC. That's what a super PAC does. Skirts around the campaign finance laws. Quick interjection, this won't take long. I just want to say, if you want to support my channel, the best way you can do it is by watching this video to the end, or at least watching a little bit longer than you would have otherwise. YouTube's recommendation algorithm works off of watch time. You can also subscribe to the channel, like the video, and check out my Patreon. Link is in the description for that. All right, back to the video. So I don't know if Mark Robinson, I don't know how much he has. It's more than $1 million. At least $6 million, I would say. But I don't know how much his super PAC has, and that's what really matters. Anyways, he's just lying here. That's the point.
I barely have $1 million of my own. He knew all he had to do was throw his money at it and it would defeat me. But what Michael Bloomberg did not realize, Michael Bloomberg was not fighting me. He was not fighting me because God does not choose his people like you.
God chose Mark Robinson, according to him, to be lieutenant governor, and is going to choose him again to be governor, apparently, in his mind. That's psychotic. Apparently, God cares about the politics of this one country in the world. Absolutely.
God chooses people so that they can prove themselves great. God chooses his people to prove his greatness. And there's only one reason why I won that race, and it was the power of God.
God gave him the lieutenant governor position.
And nothing else.
Nothing else. Nothing else but God gave him that. That's insane. Okay, well, you know what? If that's the case, then why don't you just go home and sit on your lazy boy and let things play out the way they're going to play out? Like, you don't have... Why are you even raising money? It was God and nothing else, right? Don't bother. In fact, you know what? Donate all the money you have to your opponent. That would really prove it to me. The guy knows that he's not being chosen by God and that God is giving him all of these advantages or whatever. He knows that. Even if it's just subconsciously, he knows it. Or he wouldn't be out here campaigning like he is. You know, he can claim anything he wants, but when it all boils down to what actions he takes, his actions show that he believes that God didn't choose him and that he has to work for all of this. It's like Jehovah's Witnesses claiming the end will be here any 5 minutes now. So there's no point in going to college. There's no point in, learning anything except for trades, because that'll be useful after Armageddon. Except they've just started brand new projects to build gigantic media centers. 4 or 5 year long projects that they're working on. What happened? I thought the end was here. Why are you doing all of this if the end is right around the corner? Their espoused beliefs and their actions are contradicting each other. Let's talk about what kind of person he is, okay? Because it gets bad. Late November 2023, let me just show you what he had to say about how he would handle protesters.
That same spirit that's got them people laying down in the middle of the road in Durham is that same spirit that will break in your house, come inside your house and steal your stuff and assault you because they know that they got a weak man.
The same people that would lay down in the road in protest are the people that would break into your house. That is one wild leap in logic. So I guess he's saying that people who protest for the climate or whatever are burglars and deserve to be put in prison, prematurely before they burgle? Is that what he's saying? Oh, yeah, and the apple bag on people to lay down in the road. Oh, my God, I would never do that. I'm sorry. I couldn't. That would freak me out too much. I'd be too afraid of cars just running right over me.
Talk to because they know that they got a weak man, and even weaker district attorney, and weak judges that'll turn them right back out on the street.
Right, so when somebody burgles or murders or steals or whatever, we have a weak judicial system that will turn them right back out on the streets. That's what he says. That is psychotic. Our judicial system is not weak. As a matter of fact, we have the world's highest percentage of prisoners per capita, and by raw number, I believe, more prisoners in the United States than China has, even though they have 1.4 billion people and we have 330 million. Let me just fact check that to be sure. We got 1 million people in state prisons, 157,000 in federal prisons, and 636,000 in local jails. So we're looking at 1.8 million, basically. 1.8 million people incarcerated in the United States. Looks like China has 1.7 million, so we actually beat them by 93,000. Even though we have 330 million people in the U.S., and China has 1.4 billion, I believe. Russia is kind of like a dystopian police state, a little bit, right? What do we got going on there? How many people do we have there? 433,000 in Russia. Huh, interesting. I'm getting this information from Wikipedia, by the way. I think it's pretty trustworthy with just basic, non-controversial, non-politicized information. And even in cases where it's politicized, it's been pretty useful. Okay, it looks like we actually have 2,068,000, 69,000. So I was off by a little bit, and maybe it just updated differently. Okay, I'm not sure how reputable this website is, worldpopulationreview.com, but according to World Population Review, it says 2.06 million are incarcerated in the U.S. The next leader by per capita rate would be Turkmenistan, but they only have 35,000 incarcerated. So yeah, the United States beats everybody, every single country, by like a lot. So anyways, we don't have a weak judicial system. That's complete nonsense.
I tell you this right now, I'm glad I'm not the mayor of Durham. Woo! It would be some knots on some heads tonight.
He's running for governor, okay? If he actually got that position, he would be situated in a position to actually put knots on people's heads, to have police beat the shit out of them. He would have that opportunity. Matter of fact, he probably has that opportunity now to some degree as lieutenant governor. I'm not sure. I don't know what the lieutenant governor has power over and what they don't. But another example of violence solving problems, apparently, in this guy's head.
You ever seen that show, that Woody Woodpecker show, that man, how many love smoke? Bring the camera down here, because that's what we're fixing to do.
Bring your camera down, because we're going to do this, and you'll serve as an example to anybody else who wants to do it. If you are protesting in the street, trying to block traffic to bring attention to climate change or something, we're going to beat the shit out of you until you have lumps all over your head. And we're going to do it on camera so everybody knows what we do to people who do this kind of thing, i.e., exercise their right to protest peacefully. Arguably, they shouldn't be in the street doing this, but either way, it's peaceful protest, one way or another. Yeah, super constitutionalist guy we got on our hands, right? You want to talk about constitutionalism, though. Listen to what he has to say. Early October 2021. This is one of the sermons, I guess you call it, that put him on the map, got people's attention. By the way, he's also a pastor. He's lieutenant governor, and he's a pastor. This is a sermon he gave at his church.
It is flat-out child abuse. Take your children and tell them they have to attend school. Don't have a choice.
That's like libertarianism taken to the extreme. Really? You don't want kids to go to school? What?
And then some of them will tell them they don't want you to have a choice where they go to school.
Okay, that's just a dog whistle, basically. I don't even need to get into it. Schools are zoned, and trust me, it's better that way. I live in Manhattan where high schools, are not zoned, and it is not fun. It is a train wreck of a mess, okay? You don't want that. Oh, my God.
You have to send your children here to school. Then when they get there, what do they teach them? Teach them a bunch of stuff about how to hate America.
How to hate America, you say? Like what? Tell me what things kids are learning in school that make them hate America. This is a joke. Does he believe the things that he's saying? I have to wonder. Is this all bluster? Is he just feeding into the culture war nonsense? Or does he really believe this stuff?
Teach them a bunch of stuff about why they're racist. Teach them a bunch of stuff about transgenderism and homosexuality. I'm saying this now.
Who's teaching kids about this stuff? What are you talking about? Nobody is doing this.
Transgenderism and homosexuality. I'm saying this now, and I've been saying it, and I don't care who likes it. Those issues have no place in a school.
Okay, no one is teaching kids about transgenderism. Like, what? Does he think that, like, they pull out a book and they all read it together about what being trans is or whatever? Like, what the hell is he talking about? You know, even that wouldn't be bad. Just talking about what being trans is. In fact, kids should know that, right? And what being gay is and stuff. Even that's not happening in our public schools. This is psychotic.
There's no reason anybody anywhere in America should be telling any child about transgenderism, homosexuality, any of that filth. And yes, I called it filth. And if you don't like it that I called it filth, come see me and I'll explain it to you.
So he thinks that being gay or being trans is filth. I mean, at least we know where he stands with these issues, right? If we can take anything as consolation out of this, I suppose it's that he just lays his cards on the table, doesn't beat around the bush. But this is absolutely psychotic. Straight up psychotic. Why is it that the Republican Party seems obsessed with attacking minority groups? What did the LGBT community do to this guy, to him, to anybody else in the Republican Party? Have they ever had a bad experience? Have they even met a gay person before? Gay people, trans people, anybody in the LGBT community, they're not trying to indoctrinate children. He has to know that, right?
It's time for us to stop letting these children be abused at these schools. And it's not going to happen till the people of God stand up and demand different.
Jesus Christ, dude. So it's not going to happen until you stand up and do something about it. Psychotic. That is, by no stretch of the imagination, the most psychotic and disturbing thing he's said. Listen to this, late November 2021.
We're facing a federal government, and let's face it.
We're facing a federal government, and let's face it.
It's tyrannical.
Oh, yeah.
It's tyrannical.
It is tyrannical. Guys, this is the type of government the Second Amendment was made for.
Guys, this is the type of government the Second Amendment was made for. What is more psychotic? Tell me what you think about this in the comments. Is it more unglued from reality and insane for somebody to say this kind of thing, that the Second Amendment, it's time to use the Second Amendment on the government and the people? Or is it more psychotic and unglued from reality to talk about children being groomed by the LGBT community in elementary schools or whatever? Which one is even crazier? I mean, are they both on the same level? I don't know. You know, every time we talk about this, I always have to go back to Doug Mastriano's campaign. He was running for governor of Pennsylvania, and he got close in 2022. Almost took it. But on the campaign trail, he said this.
On day one, the sexualization of our kids, pole dancing, and all this other crap that's going on will be forbidden in our schools.
Pole dancing in schools. Go on.
On day one, all the graphic books that are in elementary schools will be pulled out.
Graphic books and pole dancing in elementary schools. That's what we're dealing with right now. That's where these people's heads are at. Which is more psychotic? Honestly, I think I'm leaning toward the stuff they say about the LGBT community and the pole dancing in schools and stuff. I think that's more psychotic. I mean, this is more dangerous, obviously, encouraging violent revolution with guns. That's more violent and disturbing, but my God, the stuff they say about the LGBT community is just whacked out. Seriously. And check this one out. Late November 2021. This was one of the early ones that put him on the map for me, too. He's given a sermon, I believe, at his church.
But I can't stand to turn that TV on, and I don't want my grandkids watching that television. Because I don't want to have to explain to my grandkids why two men are kissing.
You know that I've only ever in my entire life seen two men kiss a total of maybe twice or three times. And I am about as pro-LGBT as it gets without being in the community. This is not like this big thing that's this huge problem, like men kissing left and right. And for that matter, why do you even care? What is so disturbing about two dudes kissing that isn't disturbing to you when two women kiss or a man and a woman kiss? Why is that one disturbing to you and no other? It ultimately boils right down to bigotry and hatred. That's it.
And I don't care what anybody thinks that. Get mad at me if you want to.
I'm not mad at him. I just think he's a scumbag and he's like misinformed on this whole thing, or intentionally saying this stuff because he just doesn't like people. I don't know.
Ain't no child got no business seeing no two men kiss. If If they did, God would have made it that way.
He did. Are you kidding me? How do you think this exists? Because God made it that way. Didn't God create everything on planet Earth in his mind? What do you mean God didn't create it this way? Again, I've seen two dudes kiss twice in my life, okay? And I scroll through Reddit and Twitter and watch TV and watch all kinds of stuff all the time. Only twice. And one of them was a TV commercial, I think, that was provocative. And it was, I think, during the Super Bowl, maybe? I don't remember.
Care what anybody thinks that. Get mad at me if you want to. You know, child got no business seeing no two men kiss.
I could say children have no business seeing a man and a woman kiss. How do you feel about that one?
If they did, God would have made it that way. He didn't. Everything that God made serves a purpose. I don't care how ugly it is. Let's get a little ugly.
Well, that's interesting. Okay, he's very obviously, like, repulsed by the idea of two men kissing, right? I mean, at least he's claiming to be. I'm going to take him at his word on this one, although even that may not be a safe bet. Let's assume that he's telling the truth, that he's repulsed by that. And he says, everything that God created exists for a reason, even ugly things. Let's get a little ugly. And he's about to talk about a cow pie, basically, fertilizing grass and stuff like that, you know, flowers and plants and things. Why is it that he sees something that he obviously doesn't like, two dudes kissing, and doesn't connect the dots that God created that too? Why doesn't he, like, take that extra step?
I want you to think about what the cows leave behind. It don't get no uglier than that. But you think about what can be done with what the cow leaves behind.
Honestly, I've never thought about what I could do with what cows leave behind, but I'm with you so far. Go on.
Why is the grass in that cow pasture so green? Why is it so lush? Could it be that ugly stuff the cow left behind? See, God created that. He made that for a purpose. Everything that God made, from the foul odor of what the cow left behind, to the decaying body of every living creature, to the maggots that eat those dead bodies, to the flies that fly around what the cow left. God made all those things.
Huh. Interesting. God made all of those things, you say. But he didn't make gay people. Those are the one exception, huh? Okay.
For a purpose. Will somebody please explain to me the purpose of homosexuality?
He's acting like he's got a W here, like he just did a 1-2 knockout punch on the LGBT community, like you can't explain why gay people exist.
Let's get down to brass tacks. What is the purpose of homosexuality? What does it create?
Okay, what does it create? It doesn't have to create anything. Not everything has to create something. But I'll tell you, this is commonly brought up in evangelical circles. How did being gay evolve in people? I mean, of course, evangelicals don't believe in evolution or don't accept evolution. It's something you accept or reject, not believe in. They don't accept evolution, but they're trying to kind of poke holes in it by saying gay people shouldn't exist if evolution is real. So I actually did some research on this out of curiosity. I looked into it, and from what I can tell, throughout human history, it's been useful and valuable to populations of people to have some of those people not reproducing, but still wanting children. Because a lot of the time, mothers died in childbirth, or they just didn't want the kid anymore, or whatever. You know, I'm talking 100,000 years ago, or 200, or even 1 million, whatever. There were a lot of complications and a lot of orphans. And it was evolutionarily advantageous to a population to have people around who wanted kids, but didn't want to go through the process of creating one themselves. That is likely why evolution exists in society today, because there's one more person in the family to contribute, to help, and take care of kids. Anyway, yeah, they act like it's a knockout punch. It's just absurd. The whole thing is ridiculous. I mean, I heard this from Jack Hibbs and all kinds of people. I think I heard this from Herschel Walker as well. You remember that dude? Oh, my God. It's just not the win you think it is. I mean, there are plenty of really interesting questions about evolution. You know? Like, why do human beings find baby cats cuter than baby humans? You would think evolution would push us to see baby humans as the cutest things on planet Earth. Why are baby kittens cuter? That's an evolutionary question that I feel is unanswered so far. It doesn't mean it's fake. It just means we don't know yet. But, you know, all of that nuance goes right over their head. Let me know what you think in the comments. I lived in Provincetown for a summer and didn't even see two gay people kiss. Lol, keep calling this garbage out, please. Take care. Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah. I'm in New York City. This is like the most left-leaning city on planet Earth, practically. Well, in the United States, I think, probably. And tons of gay people all over the place, you know. And there are gay people around. They tell me that they're gay. And I know gay people. But I never see them kiss. A matter of fact, I almost never even see them hold hands. It's weird how little PDA they show, huh? Maybe that's because they don't feel safe, justifiably so, to show that PDA, sadly.